Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glanz.
Good morning, Harvey. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Carrie. We'll go right to our panel. This is going to be an awesome show, and a good morning, everyone out there listening. 1 hour Hardcore Mortgage Talk. We got the Michigan their little scrimmage that they put together. You go the Mason, what do they call it? The
Mason Blue game?
Well, they call it the Mason Blue game.
Maize and Blue
game. That's coming up at noon. And then we got tons of sports and NCAA basketball. But first, Becky Alley brings in a great host. Hey, Becky, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And my microphone. I thought I had the jank one, but it's not so bad.
That one works great now. You got the volume kicked up. A special guest, Amy Rupp, eXp Realtor, trainer extraordinaire. Amy, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay, snaps for Amy. This one, okay. So Amy being in the studio with us has been long overdue, right? It's definitely, I'm excited to have you in here. I'm excited to really just hear your expertise, because it's been something that is needed to happen. And if you don't know Amy Rupp, you need to get to know Amy Rupp, and you're going to get to know her today for sure.
Well, I think the key thing with Amy is Amy does both. She does a lot of things, right? Not only does she sell real estate, but she's a trainer. She trains realtors that want to get in the business. And I think right off the bat, Amy, we were talking before we got on the show, is that right now, everybody thinks it's really easy to sell their house, right? So tell us, are you getting a lot of influx of people that want to become agents, or have you seen, because maybe there's a lack of inventory? What have you seen in just go back a couple years?
Sure. So over the last couple of years, obviously the market's been great and real estate looked easy. There's been a ton of influx of new agents, especially with eXp. Our training programs, unsurpassed for sure. And so we get a lot of new agents coming into the office, and part of that is our group working as a team. We're bringing up these new agents to prepare them, right? The market is constantly changing. That's the only thing we know, is that the market is constantly changing. And so we want to prepare them the best way we can to handle the market. Prepare their buyers, prepare their sellers, and just equip them to be the very best agents that they can. That's important.
Everybody out there, realtors have to be licensed. So, Amy, I wake up tomorrow and I say, you know what? I'm going to call you. What do I have to do? What kind of training? How many classes? Are there hours? What do I have to do?
Sure. So it's a 40-hour program. You can do it over 6 weeks. Some people do it online. Some people do it in person. I actually did mine in person and really appreciated that. Then once you graduate, you have to take that was air quotes. You have to actually take a test, pass the exam, and then eXp has an onboarding process.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Now, Amy, now you're an official licensed real estate agent. That's when you get down and dirty with these folks. So they come in the office and they say, Amy, all that stuff I studied, what does it have to do with today's market? And how do I get sellers to sign these contracts and buyers to negotiate? And there's a lot of, then the knowledge really kicks in.
Absolutely, because what you learn in real estate school is a lot different than practical application once you become a real estate agent. So then it becomes, okay, this is how you write an offer. This is how you write a competitive offer. And it's just, we have we joke inside the office that we have the kindergarten, elementary, then we have the middle school, then we have the high school, and then it gets to graduate level things where you're being really clever about how you're doing things, really strategic and really pushing, for those accepted offers and to get those listings. So
to touch on that, so I've actually had the privilege of watching Amy literally right in her element, training these newer agents. And the reason why this is important is because you also hear us talk about how there's a lot of untrained professionals out there, right? They thought it was easy, and they're out here and they don't know how to write contracts, right? Which is key. So the fact that what Amy and the Michelle Sayward team, what they have done is literally they are putting out educated agents, right? Which is key. They're understanding how to write contracts, understanding what the terms are involved, and they're also giving them these skills. When I got in the business, I didn't have someone taking me under their wing like that. And, Amy's seen the bad times in the, real estate industry. She's seeing this other time. It's very competitive. It's very tough. So, she is preaching. She practices what she preaches. And it is literally the eloquency that you teach these people and you're training them is it's going to separate them from everybody else.
Well, Becky, that's a great point, because what Amy does, she trains, but she sold 80 houses last year. Okay, that's a lot of houses. So she's selling and she's training, because she can take what she does during the day and when she's working with buyers and sellers and apply that to her training so she can impart her own personal experience. A lot of times you go to a class and the person hasn't been on the street for a long time and they're trying to tell you what to do and train you up. I'm not saying, I've always learned the best teacher is experience. And if you have a teacher that is also experienced as well, Amy's killing it on both sides.
Right. Like the information is going to be the same, but the message is different, right? My perspective, her perspective, your perspective, right? And you can't put a price tag on someone that has bona fide experience, especially in a competitive market like this. So I definitely want to get into some things on what are you doing? So like you specialize in buyers, right? And it's very competitive. So what are you doing right now to kind of give your people the competitive edge?
Well, what I started about probably a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, was starting these buyer consultations, right? Because we've been in this competitive market for such a long time. At this point, it's been a seller's market for quite a while. And because the majority of my business at the time was buyers, right? It was, that was what I was building. It was buyers, buyers, buyers. So I would start bringing them into the office before we even looked at a house. And because we get a lot of like cold calls into our office, we do a lot of business. I would start and I would say, okay, can you come into my office and we can meet? I'd like to talk about what your goals are, what you're looking for. And I thought that was really impactful because they would see, I'm a professional. I'm in a professional office. I'm dressed like a professional. And we could have, I always call it like the crap sandwich, I'll say, the good, bad, good talk, so I would say, great, what are you looking for? What are your goals? What are your needs? What are your wants? And then we would have the tough conversations. We would talk about getting financed, how important a good pre-approval is, how important it is to get it from a great lender, like Capital Mortgage Funding, and then what the market's like, right? Because I would rather scare them there than outside of the first house that we look at, right? So I would say, hey, listen, this is the market right now. It's competitive. You're going to have to do everything to get a house.
Buyers were slow to get back in the market when you first started, too, back in the day, like 2010 to 2013.
Yes.
Little slow, little apprehensive to get in the market, but some great opportunities there. Boy, if you were able to sit down with those great consultations, those families are lifelong clients of yours now, and how important it was to get face-to-face with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what I didn't want to happen was to go to the house. They love the house. There's 10 offers on the house, and I have to say, hi, I'm Amy. I know we just met. We're going to have to offer $10,000 over, a $5,000 appraisal guarantee. We're going to have to cover some seller costs. I didn't want to scare them, there and think I'm not high pressure. I said, I'm not high pressure. And I swear by that. If it's the first house or the 10th house or any house in between, I don't care. But I am aggressive. I'm a tiger. So if we have to get this house, I'm going for it.
So
and we're going all in.
You were just being real.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just being honest. So we call it hardcore. You're being hardcore and you're telling them the truth. And you had to have a plan going in, right?
Yes.
You had to have the plan because if you go out on the street without a plan, you're going to get run over.
Exactly.
But I'm hearing personal touches, though. So that old school mentality that people do not have, right? Where you're literally in their face, you're talking to them, they can handshake you, they can text you, whatever it is, but you're available. And that kind of approach, I feel like, is what separates someone like a professional from a not professional. Because everyone's, I'm busy, just text me. Here's this, here's that. Yeah. And you can't be like that right now because you're dealing with people's biggest investments. And you're right, you're showing up and you're saying, hi, I need you to go in 80,000 over or you're not going to get this house. They're going to be like, who's this chick? You don't know my money. You don't know my life.
Right. And that's what I didn't want because that to me seems too salesy. Like that's too salesy to me. I want to build that, establish that I'm a professional, that I'm going to do my very best to get them to where they want to be. But it's like building that trust. And there's nothing like being in front of people, making eye contact, building rapport that takes you to that next level, right? Where they're like, yes, okay. And by the end, then I go into, okay, so that was the junk in the middle, right? The market and getting a pre-approval, those hard talks. And then I would say, and this is my customer service strategy. I'm going to be available to you. If I'm awake, I'm going to answer my phone. Mm-hmm. This is a big decision. I want to treat everyone like my family. I don't work with mean people. I do not work with mean people. I'm at that point in my career. I don't work with mean people. I want to smile when I see your text coming across. I want to treat you like my family. I want to treat you the very best.
Is this a common theme with the agents that we bring on? If your agent doesn't talk and walk like this, then I don't think we need them.
Listen, we are here to bring high caliber people to our listeners, our viewers, and you are getting schooled by the best right now. Amy Ropp, everybody.
She can negotiate for me. 248-539-9797. When we come back, selling, buying real estate. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back to our show. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. You can catch us right here in your backyard at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. That's how you do it. Make a call, get real professionals. The conversations are extremely different. Had some opportunities to sit around and find out what's going on around town. And you definitely want to call Capital Mortgage Funding and get a strong approval letter. And we bring on these great agents here. Of course, Becky Alley, top 1% of all agents. Harry Glanz, enough experience to talk about mortgages and real estate for a lifetime. Myself, just trying to coach through here. Amy, you got tons of stuff. And these off-air conversations are always exactly what I expected. More information out there. It's you have to be able to negotiate besides the tools of real estate, which is learning how to write up the purchase agreements, then the language that goes into them, the addendums. You definitely have to be trained on that because they don't teach that in the class. I know it's not even on the state test.
No, and every single real estate contract, well, not every single, but there are so many different real estate contracts. We don't have one in the industry. I'm sure you guys see that. You know, you're like, okay, looking for the closing date, looking for the terms. You know, that's a constant thing. So, you know, learning our specific contract, that's important. Addendums, huge, right? Especially if you're doing some of the ancillary things to get your offers accepted.
Ooh, I like that word, ancillary.
You know, we have to do the things that, you know, the above and beyond offering your, you know, first child and your
right.
64 Mustang, whatever, to get your offer accepted. So you have to do all of these things to really push your offer to the top. And so that's part of our training, right? And even engaging, getting to know personality styles. I mean, that's huge. So I feel like our training at our office is so all encompassing. I mean, we have all of this great, I know Lisa LaRue was here recently. Yep. She pours a lot. Michelle Sayward pours a lot. We're constantly pouring in, and we have this great team of experience.
Like, not to cut you off, but like literally when she's saying, like, if you don't know the eXp Trenton office, I mean, literally they are world-class, top producers in the nation, in the state. I mean, they are up there. So, I mean, you literally have the top dogs as far as experience, helping you, mentoring you, not only if you're new to the business, but also as a buyer, as a seller. You literally have experience that you cannot get anywhere else, literally in the same room. And when you get all of these minds together, I've even had a chance to even speak at their one of their trainings, and it was moving. I mean, it literally took me to a totally different conversation when I was addressing these, you know, your agents and stuff. So to talk about that, so you're talking about, you're looking at these addendums, right? So on the listing side, when you are, you know, you're looking at these offers, you know what you're looking for your seller. So knowing what you're looking for from your seller, how do you navigate that, knowing what you're looking for as a seller to help your buyer stand out in this market?
So that's a great question. You know, because obviously, like when I'm working for my seller, my goal is, I always say this in my listing appointments, right? I want to net you the most money this market will allow. That's how much I want to put in your pocket. I want to give you amazing customer service, so you are just wowed by it. So I get a hug at the end of the day, regardless of COVID. Like that risky where I got to hug this girl. Right. She did great. And third is I don't want any headaches. I want it to go as smooth as possible for you so that you don't have to think about a thing, and give you the very best terms to make you happy at the end of the day. And that is looking at the mortgage approval, calling the mortgage lenders, making sure they're going to answer the dang phone, making sure that it's an actual qualification, that it's not just a piece of paper with nothing backing it, that they've collected the data. Well, okay, how solid are they? Do they have the cash to cover this appraisal guarantee so that it's not just in writing, that it's a legitimate thing? And a good agent on the other end. I mean, that's important too. Like, I don't want to do my job and your job. Right. I want to make sure all the way around that we're getting the very, very best set of circumstances.
Amy, if I had $1 for every time Harvey walked in my office with some other lender's pre-approval letter saying, I don't know, they don't know what they're doing. They're not really pre-approved. We had to do this, we had to do that. But that's what's going on, Harvey. But you know what? Old school is a new school. Everybody talks about old school. And why do you guys look at me when we say old school all the time? Anyway.
You can look at me. It's okay. I'm old school.
They go old school on it. But everybody wants to communicate by text and by email. Okay, that's good. But when you really got to get down to brass tacks, when you really got to get down to it, and we talked about it, when we're talking about a plan for somebody, don't you have to get in front of people and have that relationship? If you have a relationship with that other agent, and you know them, you've talked to them, you've had other transactions, what are the chances that your transaction is going to be accepted by somebody other than just texting and emailing?
Well, and that's the thing. I start that with the agents immediately. Make good relationships. 10% of the realtors are doing 90% of the business, right? Mm-hmm. They're the ones listing the houses. There is you never know when you're going to be on the other side, right? So treat everyone well. Even if their offer doesn't get accepted, give them a genuine apology, because it does suck to lose on this market. Then maybe they'll remember that, oh God, that girl was nice later on. Right. I have spent my entire career focused on building relationships with other agents. I don't see them as competition. We're a team. We're a team. I need them. They need me. We're working together for the same goal at the end.
All right, guys, let's move off to a call here. We've got our first caller of the morning. Good morning. Go ahead. Hey, you're on the air.
Ken.
Hey, Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been considering selling my investment property, and I was just wondering what kind of techniques Amy uses to net the sellers the most money. I've heard you guys mention netting the most money. And
without giving away all of our top secrets here, right? We don't give away all the secrets, but go ahead, Amy.
So when I'm listing an investment property, especially in this market, a lot of investors want to capitalize, right? We're at this really, really high point in the market, and they can really get the most money. And if it's just, something that they maybe are considering liquidating, maybe they want to get out of the investment game for a while, now is a great time, because that's not their primary residence, so they don't have to worry about finding their next place. We'll talk about their tenants later on. But, and what I try to position is to position the home at the perfect price so that there's a competition, right? Because if we start here and we build up and people will bid and bid and bid and get into a bidding war, pushing the price up, ultimately netting them the most money, they can sell it as is. I mean, my investors will be like, well, shouldn't I put a fresh coat of paint? Shouldn't I do this? No, don't touch a thing. In this market, 30 buyers for every home. Don't touch a thing. Just let it happen. I'm like, someone will want it.
Right. Unprecedented supply and demand issues. We're just keeps driving up the price. And we see that really for 2022. There's no stoplights in our mirrors or anything. So we just keep moving forward here. Ken, thanks for the call. I'm going to give you Amy's number after the show, and she'll reach out to you and we go over some details. Again, having a professional like Amy, you can come and sell anything for me. You might be related to my mom, actually. I don't know. She can sell anything. 248-539-9797. Definitely want to throw that out there. Supply and demand, Harry. That's definitely what's going on. And by the way, Harry, I did some numbers on this little bump in interest rates we've had. People keep saying to me, hey, Harvey, I want to hurry up and buy before the rates go up. No, folks, they've gone up.
No, they're going up.
And they've gone up 40%, because if they were 3 and they're almost at 5 now, that's 40%,
but
Harry.
I think we have to keep this in perspective, okay? Throw out 2020 and throw out 2021. Okay, forget about it. Never happened. We want to move on. Interest rates before 2020 and 19, 18, 17, they're where they are right now.
Great.
Okay? They are lower than at some point in time in the 90s and 2000s. Okay, so you got to forget about it. Forget about 20 and 21. I know a lot of people want to for other reasons, but interest rates, that was fantasy land. That's not there. That wasn't real. Congratulations if you bought a house in 20 and 21 or refied in 2020 and 21. You got the ultimate, the crazy low rates. Now they're just real low.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what's happening is the typical FOMO, right?
Yeah.
Where we preach and say, hey, these rates are not going to be low forever. They're not going down to 0. But then you're always talking to those clients, well, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till they go to 1.99.
What are you waiting
I saw online. Okay, well, you saw online, then you didn't see the points that they're charging you, right? So now here we are. The rates are moving, and everyone wants to get in as it's happening or after it's happened, which is fine, but that's just human nature. We tend to not learn. But yes, to your point, if you were able to capitalize on those historically low rates, congratulations, but they're still historically low, relatively speaking. But there is a sense of urgency right now, because right now they are very, very low. They're projected to go higher. Right now we're already at the rate that they projected we would be at the end of this year. Right. So we're already there, right? We're already pressing 5s for your top tier credit, pretty up there. So, by the end of 2023, are we going to be a little bit more? Maybe. Do we think that we're going to see a little bit stability in the rates? I do think so. I feel like the market's forward looking. So I'm hoping that the worst is behind us and we're going to start seeing some stabilization with the rates and all that. But either way, if you were pre-approved over the last 90 days, 60 days, you need to have that reevaluated. We are actively going back, reevaluating someone's price point, because someone that was pre-approved for $250 in December is probably going to be a $200,000 buyer.
Yeah, public service announcement out there for everybody. It's not your lenders or your realtor's fault that rates went up or the price of houses went up.
Yeah, the level field. It's the playing field has been leveled. The rates are going to be the rates.
Right. So rates are rates. All realtors out there, it's not your fault the house prices went up, and all mortgage people out there, it's not your fault the rates have gone up. So there you go. That's my advice for the day.
If you're seeing some crazy ads that says rates are dropping or anything, I saw them on the Facebooks. It's just not true. You got to stop that. Michigan did increase their rates. Michigan State Housing Development Authority,
yes,
the Michigan program, down payment assistance program, and the down payment assistance programs did bump up their rates. Becky,
4.875.
875, 4 and 7
It literally was 4.6 for maybe 2 days, and then they were up to 4.8.
They burped it up a little bit. Still under 5% again.
Still a great rate.
It is still a great rate.
Still a great rate.
It's still a great rate, and you literally, if you qualify for these programs, it's free money. Not free money, but it's as free money as you're going to get. But at the same time, these MSHDA down payment programs, you either fit in the box or you don't. Right? You have to have the credit. You have to have the ratios. You have to make a certain dollar amount. You can't exceed that. So you need to start the conversation. But if your conversation is starting with, I want to buy a house and I don't have any money, we're going to have a different conversation. We're going to talk about what we need to do to get you into that home. But you are going to need a little bit of money. There's no free housing out there right now.
And we got a nice twist when we come back. Keep it here at 248-539-9797. We've got proper etiquette in an open house. Boy, I wrote down some nasty stuff here, Amy. We got to tell people at the door what to do. All right, when we come back, keep it here. Alrighty, we are back, 9:29. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We got a full staff all weekend long. Call 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Get a real sound approval letter. You can quickly get your W-2s, your documents over to us and some pay stubs. We'll run the credit. We'll check your assets and get you set up if you want to make a strong offer. We're going to talk about offers in this segment of the show. Definitely give us a call, 248-539-9797. Amy Roth from eXp Realty, extraordinaire at training people and selling, and wow, can you talk real estate and mortgages. Becky Ella here, I'm Harvey Freed. We went to the break and I said, let's talk about some open house etiquette. We're crying out loud. What's going on out there? There's no homes on the market. There's 21 to 45 offers on any house that's gorgeous out there. And I'm having a little giggle this week with one of my real estate buddies, and she tells me that people are using the bathroom. They're not putting on the foot sanitizers at the door. They're throwing those on the floor. There's a garbage can. What's going on, Amy?
No, I've kind of our open house traffic has been just insane, right? I mean, we've just since that's been an option, the crowds are coming in. They really are. And I've had, I don't typically do open houses. I actually let a lot of the new agents do those because it's a great way to connect with buyers. I always encourage the agents, pair with a great lender, have them come join you for company, if nothing else. But usually, like it was for a while, because it would be crickets during an open house. But now they're really picking up. I mean, there were like 35 that came through a recent open house, 35 groups of people. So it's there, right? So, that was a pretty funny story that you shared.
Yeah, we don't
I feel
too
like
many.
open houses, though, like they, I'm glad that they're coming back because they did go away. I mean, even before COVID, right? They weren't as in vogue, right? You weren't seeing that kind of traffic. But granted, again, I do understand there's like 20 people for like the one house now. So it is creating a lot of traffic, yes, but it's also creating a lot of people that, you know, you can make those connections at that moment where you can really bond with someone and they're like, okay, I'm here to talk. I'm not approved, right? Because people are nosy, right? So sometimes people are just going to look, but then they turn around and say, okay, well, now maybe I do want to buy a house or maybe it is time to upgrade. So I do want to kind of connect as far as what are we saying to the, you know, the sellers out there, potential sellers that are wanting to upgrade, but they're afraid to get out there right now.
So again, that's why it's so vitally important to pair with a mortgage lender, right? If they do have to get a finance, can they buy without selling? I mean, that's definitely something I've been having people investigate, maybe borrowing from our 401k, moving some money around to make it work now. Obviously, it puts them in a better position to be able to purchase before they sell. It is not impossible. And that's why you also need to pair with a great realtor, right? Someone who's going to protect you so that your sale of your home is contingent upon you finding your home of choice. You can absolutely do it. I've helped 6 families just this year do exactly that. So it's completely possible. You just have to know, okay, I'm going to need max occupancy. I'm going to need to have this contingency in there for the sale. The buyers right now are so desperate. They will wait. There's people in apartments. There's people in their mom's house. They're willing to wait. They'll wait 60 days for you.
But sellers don't have anywhere to go either. Why do you don't need that
urgency.
18-day closing.
Correct.
I mean, so the occupancy is the key thing. A seller's going to want to stay in the house longer now because there's nowhere to go. But, you know, what I find interesting is that people want to get out now. Mm-hmm. You know, the pandemic, everybody wants to go out. They want to go to the open houses and they want to see because
they don't even know what they're standing in line for. They're just going to stand in line.
They want to go because they're tired of like driving that neighborhood, going on the internet, looking at it. All right, driving in front of the house, walking around the house on the outside. They want to get the vibe of the house on the inside. Yeah. They want to picture themselves and their families in the house. So they're going back in and they want to see it and they want to, they want to vibe out in the house, right?
Well, and I didn't sell during COVID. Honestly, that was the one time I just kind of sat back because I like my buyers being able to walk in the house. This isn't $10,000 you're spending. This is tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars that they were purchasing at the time, right? So I want them to be able to smell it. Does it smell like cat pee? I don't know. Are the floors crooked?
Wow.
Like I just wanted exactly that though. What you said is Harry is like get the vibe of the house.
Get the vibe of the house.
And we had this like major, I think, bottleneck for the listing inventory because there was COVID where we couldn't really go out and sell things. People were scared to sell. We had the low interest rates, which increased the amount of buyers. We had no new builds happening. We had investors that had a moratorium on getting their tenants out, even if they weren't paying.
Right.
So it's like investors that would normally sell in the normal transition of the market, they weren't selling. And so we have this huge bottleneck. And so now it's like everyone wants to buy and everyone wants to buy.
So it's funny, Amy, Becky, and Harvey, I just got a text from one of my realtor partners. She said, Harry, you're crazy. If you wait to go in the house is already gone. What do you think about that?
I know. Well, and that's the thing, right? But realtors aren't dumb. Or they shouldn't be. I'm giving people the weekend, right? I'm trying to put homes on the market on a Thursday, not review offers till Monday.
Yeah.
Let time for that. Let the time happen for the open house.
Let
that. The people come through, because the first offer may be the best offer. That was traditionally, we would always say that first offer sometimes the best offer, and sometimes it still is. I recently had one. I got my best offer on Friday. We still didn't review offers till Monday, but there were 10 offers that came in. Aren't those worth a look? I mean, a good agent is going to want to give you enough time, especially because some people truly do not want stacked appointments where there's more than one agent. They still want to stagger them, or agents aren't.
Amy, let me jump in with two things. I love where you're going with this. So reverse contingencies for buyers and for sellers. So you're going to sell your house. You're scared you won't find another house. Have your house 1,000% sold. It's contract. They're moving forward with the mortgage. They'll wait, give you 60 days to go find a new house. You can extend that another 30 and spread out the closing. And then number two, Becky, what we do at the office is it's unbelievable for people. You can squeak by. So let's say a $500,000 house, like you said, 5% down. So now you only need $25,000 down. If you're buying a $500,000 house, you have $25,000. Then you need another $10,000 for closing costs and escrows. Now you're at $35,000. You can come back to us after you sell the house and recast the loan. Becky, it solves all problems. You got to have these professionals. One more time, I'm going to say it. If your agent doesn't sound like this girl across from me here on the radio,
that was
Amy,
quick.
then fire her now.
That escalated quickly.
Right.
So good.
Yeah.
That escalated
Amy,
fast.
I can't say anything. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. I got to be nice.
But it's true. I mean, because you don't need 20% to get your offer accepted, right? And if you have a really good, educated listing agent reviewing the offers, they're going to see right through that. Cash is not always king. That is not the top dollar.
Yeah,
In the same time, you don't have, they don't have the assets. They're not closing fast enough. And people are like, they get caught up in this fast closing thing. Well, okay, so where are your sellers still going in 60 days? I mean, so the 20% down and all that stuff, like 5% down, there's a lot of people, even with FHA offers, right? Just because there's someone is an FHA offer, maybe they had something going out with their credit, right? But you're still 3.5% down. They have the money in the bank to bridge the appraisal gap, right? Those are all things that are being verified. And those are still bona fide offers, because at the end of the day, net profit is net profit. I don't care where the money's coming from.
Absolutely. And if it's a good pre-approval, it's going to close. I mean, that's everything, right? I mean,
Amy, let's back this up. Becky's going to ask the magic question. I'm going to say this to Becky, so I'm going to set Becky up here.
Okay.
Becky, go over the cash offer thing that's out there right now. The cash. I'm coming in with cash. I'm hot with cash.
Okay,
I got a bag of cash in my car.
Yeah, it used to always be the phantom cash offer, right?
Right.
So your
the phantom cash
Yeah, the
offer.
phantom
Yeah.
cash. Like,
I remember
you're
that.
like going up to 30. Oh, well, we got a backup cash offer. No, you don't.
No,
No, you
50,000
don't.
less for less money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but now there is a lot of cash being thrown around the industry. That's a fact, right? And everyone's wondering where it's coming from. Now, a new buyer, I am empathetic. You can't compete with someone that's going to show up and they're going to pay $80,000 over asking, right? Like I describe it as someone projectile vomiting on an elevator, right? I'm going to get the next one. Okay, this one's not for me. I'm going to take the next ride, right?
Exactly.
But with the cash offers, a lot of times, though, there's uneducated real estate agents that automatically assume, oh, this is cash, fast close, we're going to do this. But guess what? If they really took that time and they evaluated one more offer, what's happening, Amy?
and that cash is king. Everyone hears that, but it's not always king. There are so many factors when I'm reviewing an offer. When the most recent listing I had 10 offers. Now, don't you think that there's going to be a big discrepancy between what this is offering, what this is offering? So you're looking at the lender, occupancy, what costs they're covering on behalf of the seller, who their mortgage lender is. You don't want to just accept any mortgage
So
lender.
I'm hearing it does matter who's on that pre-approval.
It
sometimes.
absolutely does. You want someone who cares. I want someone who cares as much as I do, because after I find somebody the right house, right, I don't touch them for the next 30 days for the most part, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like doing my, I'm not disappearing, but you know what I mean?
Right.
It's not in my court. So I can look like the worst agent in the world if at the end they've had a bad experience. So there is nothing more important than who's going to treat my clients like I'm going to treat my clients, because
Right.
that's the whole experience.
Hey
right?
guys, let's go to this call real quick. Sneak in Dale here. Dale, thanks for calling in. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, we're one of the 4 heirs to a family cottage in northern Michigan. It's near Traverse City on Crystal Lake.
Beautiful.
And it looks like we're my wife is maybe the only sibling that might be interested in purchasing because the family just hates to see it go. But it would be a real financial stretch. And I'm concerned that just with the way the market's been and with the properties up there, that prices are at a very peak or near peak. That with the gas shortage and inflation things, that maybe they'll be dropping in the next year or two.
You're thinking this could be the spring or summer that your family sells that cottage, that family cottage that's been in the family forever.
Right. Yeah,
All right.
It's been in the family for 50 years. So.
I mean, I feel like that might be hard to let go is also what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys are
Right,
thinking
yeah,
about,
Well,
so if you're thinking
it's,
about, go ahead, Harry.
Yeah, number one.
It's really hard to let go, and yet it's just such the property's gotten so valuable, it's just a real stretch.
Well, of course it is, and that's a decision that you and her siblings are going to have to, make. But I will tell you this: people, look, up north is up north. That's what we talk about. We're from Michigan. We call it up north. Up north is up north. Gas could go to $10 a gallon. People are still going to go up north. That's just the way it is. If you think, and I would say this, and this is a personal thing, if you just don't feel it's right to let that house go, no matter what the price is, and you have the consent of the siblings that you're going to take it over. Now, of course, they're going to want to get a fair market appraisal on that property right now, and then you're going to divide it by how many, and you just got to come up with a price. But, it's up north is always going to be there, and you've got to decide whether you want to keep that house or not keep that house. But I'd keep the house. I'd try to find a way to make it work. I mean, if you possibly can do it.
Well, of course, now with the new VRBOs and all these
Right.
the ways to rent out the properties, you can have management companies and hire these companies to maybe make it profitable for you guys. So
If not, they've got to get together,
Yeah.
divide it by 4, and
It's
go.
worth the conversation. So
Yeah.
I think we'll call you after the show and we'll see what we can do as far as can we keep this property in your home? Is it realistic? And maybe even if you and a couple of siblings even retain it and then you guys find a way to make it work because, that's something that it's been in your property or your
sounds
family
like
for a
great
long
place.
time. And, then you can even pass it down for generations. So I feel like it's worth the conversation for us to see if we can make it work. Regardless of what the price point is, sometimes you can't put a price on a family tradition or something like that that's just been in your family. I mean, I feel like that's priceless.
And they're not making
The
more
things that
waterfront
you're saying
property.
is what
That
I
is
hear
true.
from a lot of people. It's just concerned about the financial end of it. So
We'll talk to you about that.
Yeah, we'll work it out for you. We'll see if it makes sense, and we'll just take it from there, and then we'll just have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thanks
Right,
for
you're
the
welcome.
call.
Thanks for calling
Dale. We like that kind of call.
Yeah.
And
So I want to kind of touch on like he was mentioning, whether the property values were going to go down in the next some odd time, right? Property values are not invincible. That's true. Anyone that's been through the financial crisis, did we see, property values deteriorate? Yes. But we're not in a depreciating market, right? These homes have been appreciating from 18 to 20%, right? And when those values did drop, that was not attached to rates. There were so many other things that were a deterrent for that, and it had nothing to do with what is going on in this current market. You're talking about totally different animal, so don't worry about that. I mean, you're literally not driving a lease off the lot and it's depreciating. You literally have a great asset.
All right, Fannie Mae has adjusted their home prediction to 11.2% appreciation. That's huge. Get that in your portfolio. When we come back, we'll talk about homes as an investment, as your primary residence, as a second home. 248-539-9797. We'll be back.
down.
We are back already. Welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. That's right. We're in our 23rd year. I'm Harvey Freed, Harry Glanz, Becky Alley from Capital.
You know, I'd like to do
Amy
4
here.
hours today. Can we do 4 hours? You think they'll let us do 4 hours today?
We might
Let's do
just.
it.
I mean, we've got
man.
tons
Tell
to share.
Pat.
All right.
Amy's
I
coming
must
back
be
for
fun.
sure.
We're in our last segment here. If you want to sneak in a phone call, 248-539-9797. It's always mortgages and real estate. Some shows are a little bit more interesting than others, and this one to me has been extremely interesting. And there's a weird fascination of things going on out there in our crazy world. A lot of agents, a lot of lenders out there, and people are clicking buttons and not really getting these professionals behind them. So again, a new agent I'm working with, I'm going to tell you guys a story real quickly. She made an offer. It said 6% concessions, where that's $11,000 on this purchase. It's $11,400, and her closing costs are only about $8,000.
Well, for everybody out there, a concession is when the seller's going to give a buyer back some money.
I haven't heard of these.
So we
Is this something new?
So how it works is, well, you have, because of course the purchase price is burped up just a little bit to cover that, and the house appraised out and everything's perfect. But the closing costs are not $11,000, so she's going to lose over $3,000, and she's scared, and it doesn't make sense. In fact, if she called the sellers, they'd probably be happy to sell the house for a little bit less money because their transfer tax would be a little bit less money. And again, it nets them the same amount of money. The concession is lower, and then the sales price gets dropped. You know, this is having a professional involved in the transaction. In this case, she doesn't. She's throwing away money. It's huge.
It is. It is. And you want someone that will prepare you. So one of my big things is once a person decides on a house, I always want them to talk to the mortgage lender, right? So if they want to make an offer, I want them to have a clear picture. Okay, if I put down this much, it's going to be this much out of pocket. If I put down this much, it's going to be this much out of pocket. A lot of times, they think, I have to put 20% down, my conventional buyers. And I'm like, you don't. Mortgage insurance was way higher than it is now. And sometimes it makes sense to put a little bit less down to get the house that you want by making up that, gap
Right.
appraisal.
I mean, that
guarantee.
$30 a month that you're paying, what she's talking about, mortgage insurance, so if you're putting less than 20% down, there's PMI involved, right? So let's just say it's $33, $34, depending on what the price point is, right? That $35, $40, even if it's $70, is allowing you to keep, $20,000 in your pocket. You're looking at homes that you might need to renovate. You might need to fix. I mean, I feel like some of these buyers are like walking around like it's Blockbuster and all the good movies we're taking. They're like, oh, I guess I'll take Cat in the Hat, right? So they're
Hey, now.
but at the same time, though, that extra money that you're not throwing at the mortgage is going to allow you to furniture, paint, all the things.
Well, and that's a great point, Becky. So a lot of the HGTV brainwashing that's occurred where
like it,
people,
though. Yeah.
they want to walk in and everything's perfect
It's
and
not
beautiful
real.
and amazing.
And their occupation
A,
is goat herding.
Yes.
It's not real.
A, it's not real, but B, especially when I'm talking to buyers in my office, I'm saying, listen, we need to look at grandma's house, right? Because grandma was cold, so she's got insulation. She's cares about the structure. There was a pride of ownership. The roof's new. The furnace is new. She's done those big capital improvements that are not fun to spend money on. It's fun to pick out your own countertops, your own cabinetry. Like I've shown houses and they're like, oh, this is a brand new kitchen, but I wanted white cabinets or I wanted dark cabinets or whatever. I wanted light floors or dark floors. You don't have that, right? Grandma has everything original. It's meticulous. It's clean. Everything is maintained properly. And that's I kind of direct my buyers towards more of those houses because it's fun to spend $4,000 in a bathroom. It's not fun to spend $4,000 on a furnace.
I hope
right?
people are hearing this again. Break down all the important stuff. If you're just calling your lender or real estate agent, just talking about interest rates, you're in for nothing. Right. It's not going to work out for you the way it really needs to work for you. I got to keep going with this stuff. 248-539-90. Oh, we lost a guy. We had someone on the line. We try to go to him. Call us back if you get a quick minute here. 248-539-9797 for another 5 or 6 minutes. We'll take your calls here. And, of course, we got sports all day long on 97.1 and then the Michigan football game, the Amazing Blue game coming up at noon.
Blue.
Blue. Amazing Blue game.
Blue.
The Blues. Well, they're going to be wearing blue. Also, let's go back to the Mister real quick. That down payment assistance program has been great for a lot of first-time home buyers. Again, they're overbidding on houses nowadays. The loans get closed in a timely manner. The state of Michigan has really stepped up their game. So I'm going to salute Eric and their whole staff out there. The couple of guys at the bottom of the pages there. I reached out to them during the week, And that program is awesome for a lot of first-time home buyers. Have your family give us a call at Capital Mortgage, 1-800-LOW-RATE. Want to go into something else? We talked a little bit about seller's concessions. Yes, break those down to dollar amounts. We do got them back here. Break those down to dollar amounts on the seller's concessions. It's easier to break it down in case your price changes or some new negotiations. And let's go out to William out there. Thanks for the call, William, and thanks for staying on the line. Go ahead. Oh, Dave, go ahead, sir.
Oh, hey, yeah, you know what? I just logged in, so sorry if I'm asking a repeat question.
Go for it.
A couple of weeks ago, I heard you guys talk about like a 3-bedroom brick ranch, might list for $200, but you'd get asking prices $20 above that. Do you see that staying the same for the foreseeable future, or with interest rates creeping up, or is that stabilizing?
So honestly, Dave, interest rates are still great. I mean, 5% is still a great rate. So I see that there's continuum of there being a high demand for homes lasting at least the next couple of years. I mean, the demand is too high. There's, what is it?
45 million.
Yeah, 45 million. She said it. I was like, oh goodness, right? And a lot because rentals are going up, I heard 22%, and there's just a scarcity of them out there. I mean, people cannot rent to save their lives right now. I mean, it's that competitive. And so this common trend of the prices going up and up, I think is going to go for the next at least couple years. So.
Yeah, so I get it. 5% is still a good rate historically.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, and the difference between 5 and 3.5 on a $200,000 house might be $50 a month.
Well, I got the
a little
math
bit more
for you.
than
It's
that,
a little bit more.
Hey, we have some professionals that can answer that question specifically.
From 3 to 5% on a $200,000 loan, from 3 to 5%, it's $128. How's that? $128 too. That's not going to, you know what? That's one night out on the town. If I don't go out tonight, I save $120.
Yep.
No Sibley Gardens. No Sibley Gardens for me. That sounds like
the poor folks down
So
there.
there is, to answer his question, Dave, there's plenty of activity out there right now because of the record low inventory.
Yeah.
The panic right
Thanks for
now
the call,
isn't
Dave.
in mortgage rates. It's the record low inventory.
Yeah, we're not going to lose buyers from that. You're absolutely right.
So we have a lot of buyers out there, still plenty of buyers out there, just lack of homes, lack of inventory.
Over the last decade, there was just not enough homes built. I mean, the new construction, they got, held up because of what was going on with the financial crisis. They had a hard time recouping all that. And there just wasn't enough homes to be, versus the existing, right? So to Amy's point, we are going to continue to see this shortage because it's a national shortage. It's a problem. So until these new construction homes can kind of catch up, but with the influx of buyers, it is going to be a really long time before we can actually catch up on this housing market. Even though they're trying to deter buyers with these higher rates, it's just not going to happen.
So there are certain things we talked about on the podcast with Brian McAllister out of your office on
That's
Wednesday.
my boy.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, he's so much fun to talk to. But we talked about there are things we know and there are things that we don't know. The things we know are as follows. 2022, there's still going to be a lack of inventory on the market, so you can bank on that. Okay? But it's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good home selling year. People are out there buying homes. It's just that it's going to be a little bit tough finding those properties, and you have to jump on it. You have to be prepared, have that plan, and jump on it as soon as you see something that you like.
We have to be strategic, right? So it's like I mentioned it before. It is the creativity of the professional real estate team with the financial creativity on the lending side to find these programs for these people and make them understand you don't need to 20%. MSHDA is really going to be a huge part of helping people get into homes because renting is no longer an option.
Well, and that's the thing, what Harvey said about MSHDA and FHA, I feel like, their appraisals seem way more lenient. And just in general in the market, I've seen crazy appraisals. I had a house listed at $320. It sold for $350 with an appraisal guarantee, and it came in at $350.
There you go.
So, I mean, I do feel like there's almost like a generosity. Like the appraisers get it. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. I had a driveway in an FHA that literally looked like ground beef, and it still appraised FHA.
Well, there you
so,
go.
I mean, they're loosening their restrictions, right? I mean, I think there's I just had a MSHDA that went through. Same thing. I feel like they're quicker because I think the amount of loans right now are lower, so they're happening quicker. The rush in MSHDA, those days of backup has slowed down a little bit. Where you'd be waiting for MSHDA to respond. And I feel like the appraisers are actually letting some things go that maybe they were a little bit stricter on before.
You're officially jinxing us here on the
I knew
that was coming.
I would never.
Yes,
No.
yeah, I'll say yes. Now, health and safety issues. Again, I had a situation with a deck that was 5 feet off the ground, needed a handrail around
Yeah.
it. So
I want you to call Amy this week when the jinx ends. Okay, so do not run in my office yelling at me about
I'll just
appraisal.
call
It's
Amy.
Amy's fault.
Yeah, look at this one. But appraisal guarantees you better know what you're signing there because, again, if it doesn't come in, you better have the money, the difference. We'll get into all that too. But the fastest show in mortgages and real estate is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Eric's telling me we got to wrap up. Are you kidding me? Is that it?
We're done. We can't
All
go
right.
another 3 hours.
We can do sports here then, I guess. All right.
Okay, well.
We want to thank everyone for listening as always. If Eric plays the music, then I know we're on our way out for sure. There's some opportunities out there. Becky Ellie, there's profitable flips. There's all sorts of ways to get into real estate. You must find a lady named Amy Rupp. She's down there at EXP.
Give her a call for sure.
Down in
Top
Michelle
notch.
Sayward's office, and she's a well-known entity down there in the Downriver area. But you'll do mortgages anywhere, or real estate anywhere.
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't matter. Anywhere in Southeast Michigan.
Come on
Michigan
now.
girl. I'm good everywhere.
That's all right. Keep it here at 97.1 The Ticket. You were great, Amy. For Harry Glanz and Becky Ailey, I'm Harvey Freed. We'll catch you next Saturday.